After 85 minutes, Andre Onana appeared to be time-wasting as he took a goal kick. "Attack, attack, attack!" chanted the travelling Manchester United fans, and it was a moment that summed up the continuing, unsatisfactory tenure of Erik ten Hag. In isolation, an away draw with high-flying Aston Villa is a more than creditable result for a manager fighting to save his job. But in the context of United's frustrating campaign so far, was it, and the nature of it, really good enough? Ten Hag went into the week, following the terrible 3-0 home defeat by Tottenham Hotspur, knowing he probably had 2 games to convince the club's hierarchy to not replace him during the forthcoming international break. He has won neither. But he has, also, lost neither, with the fortunate 3-3 draw with Porto in the Europa League on Thursday, followed by a far more encouraging and organised goalless stalemate here. Sir Jim Ratcliffe joined his sports advisor Sir Dave Brailsford, the host of executives he hired, Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox, and Sir Alex Ferguson, and it felt like they were less tricoteuses waiting for the guillotine to drop. Will Ten Hag survive the chop? There will be meetings in the coming days involving the decision-makers, and we know, also, that Ratcliffe likes a process-driven approach, that is, provide the evidence to back up a decision. That evidence does not look good for Ten Hag, even if the prevailing wind, driven by the knowledge that United would prefer to keep him, seems to suggest he will carry on. For now. Look at the statistics. It is just 1 win in 5 and just 3 wins in 11 in all competitions. They are 14th in the Premier League and have only 8 points after 7 games. That is their worst total since 1989. They are already 6 points off the top 4 and are 5 above the relegation zone. But most damning of all, perhaps, is their goals total, given this is United, given their tradition of scoring, given their commitment to attack, given Ferguson, who frankly looked a little bored in the director's box, was in attendance. Goalless away at Villa, whatever the context, would have prompted Ferguson to roll the dice, to throw on more attackers. When United were flying, that would have involved introducing players of the caliber of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Teddy Sheringham or, later, Carlos Tevez. Now Ten Hag turns to Joshua Zirkzee, who, so far, simply does not look up to it, while he had to withdraw Marcus Rashford before he was sent off with the forward fortunate not to go following a petulant trip on Leon Bailey just seconds after being booked. In Rasmus Højlund and Alejandro Garnacho they have talented players but not killers in front of goal. In injury time Garnacho broke free down the right, with Bruno Fernandes unmarked, but his attempt to find him was simply woeful. Zirkzee is not that killer either is Rashford nor Amad Diallo, and certainly not Antony. They remain what they are, a team dependent on individual moments. And so the closest they came was a fine free kick from Fernandes that rebounded off the crossbar with goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez beaten. Look at more stats. United have failed to score in 4 of their last 5 games and have scored 5 in 7 league matches. Only Southampton, with 4, have scored fewer. It is United's lowest total after 7 games since 1972. It is not just this season. Last season United scored 57 times in 38 league games. Manchester City's total was 96, Arsenal's was 91. 16th place Brentford only scored 1 goal fewer than United. Last term, United finished 3rd but scored only 58 times. There are more stats. Ferguson averaged 2.01 goals per game. Even if Ten Hag should not be measured against that, only Ralf Rangnick, of the 6 managers who have followed Ferguson, has a worse record than the Dutchman's 1.45 goals a game. Afterwards Ten Hag tried to accentuate the positive, and hailed United's 4th clean sheet of the league campaign. But is that something to really boast about when you are winning so few games? He also conceded that United need to score more. But is his determination to defend hampering their chances? It would appear so. In saying that United started with Harry Maguire and 36-year-old Johnny Evans, who was their best player, at the heart of their defense. On the bench? Amid a remarkable £350 million worth of substitutes were 6 big Ten Hag signings, including Matthijs de Ligt, who only came on after Maguire was injured, and Lisandro Martinez, who was unused. Maybe they were fortunate not to lose. Villa manager Unai Emery admitted the result was fair, but there were more excuses available to him, and not least the number of injuries. There was also the draining, physically and emotionally, Champions League victory over Bayern Munich. United were also in Europe, playing 24 hours later in Portugal, and this was the meeting of two tired teams. Early on, Villa lost Ezri Konsa to an apparent hamstring injury. The defender is expected to pull out of England's forthcoming Nations League ties. Villa almost won it in injury time, and the landscape would certainly have looked far clearer and bleaker for Ten Hag. The ball was allowed to run across the penalty area to Jadon Philogene, and his shot appeared set to beat Onana, only for it strike Diogo Dalot on the back and deflect narrowly wide. How significant will that moment prove to be? Ten Hag will certainly hope it is. Erik Ten Hag speaks to Sky Sports. It's a long-term process. On the draw. I think it's the fourth clean sheet this season. You see, we had a very good organization and togetherness. There was good character and good spirit as a team. Determined, resilient. On United's defensive solidity. We almost didn't concede a chance. When you defend like this and get some luck, in the end they had a big chance, but it was almost the only chance, I think. On United's misfiring attack. We created some chances, also not so many chances. We hit the crossbar and also Rashford had chances. But the two teams were really balanced. On creating chances this season. We create loads of chances in our 7 games, but we have to step up. We have to take into consideration Højlund is returning, he's still coming up to full fitness. But others are stepping up. I was impressed from Rashford, also Garnacho is so good, and Antony at the end. On whether Rashford could have been shown a red card. Yes, that was one of the reasons to take him off. If it was another foul, probably he would be sent off. We can't take another risk. On the lack of goals. We know in this moment we have a lack of goals. In that perspective, it's not a good start. We have to step up. That's an area we have to improve. But we have 4 clean sheets. That's good because we have to defend proper. Has he spoken to the club's hierarchy? We always speak, every week we speak. We are all on board together, on one page. We know what we are working through, it's a long-term process. We have come through 2 very tough away games. This is a team, we showed the belief and faith we have.